So let's get started. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. This is Couch Talks with WDKX. I'm Andrea, and we are joined with none other than Trey Songz, actor, singer, songwriter, Grammy nominated. How are you doing today, sir?
What's up? Thank you. I like that intro.
Yeah,
I didn't even know it was couch talk, but I'm happy I'm on my couch.
right? It's nice to just be at home sometimes. It's been a pretty hectic couple of months. So what have you been doing to just take care of yourself and your mental health during all this time?
I've been making a lot of music. I've been working out a lot. In the beginning of it all, actually, I didn't know what to do with my time. I was trying to find stuff on Netflix. I had picked up, I was playing Call of Duty with my little cousin. Like just wasting time away. Like
Yeah.
But eventually I started like with a workout regimen and I started making music. And I was kind of down because we had this whole rollout plan of how I was going to release my music and my album. We had video shoots, photo shoots set up. And immediately the week that we actually had these plans, everybody shut down from COVID. So we had to find new ways to be productive and creative, and I ended up releasing my single Back Home with Summer Walker, where we actually did a video of everybody in their houses, like all my friends, extended family, close family, all in their house, just trying to get through the pandemic. So that was the first step into like releasing music for me. And then of course, the world kind of paused when George Floyd was murdered, and it like everything else, we were faced to deal with that without being able to look away with COVID. It was like the perfect storm for what's happening right now. And that kind of steered my musical direction elsewhere for the moment. And I wrote a song called How Many Times, which is very emotional, very, it's like a tearjerker. It's a sad song, but it's very much needed for now. So that's kind of the
Yeah, I have so many questions about How Many Times, and I just want to get your perspective on a few things. But just to jump into How Many Times, this is a different side of you than we've ever seen. We've like turned up with you, we've gotten romantic with you, but now this is a whole new version of Trey Songz. And I know a lot of artists don't like to be compared, but I really feel like this is like your Teddy Pendergrass to Marvin Gaye, like part of your career. But do you feel,
if I was ever gonna be compared, I would love that was a great comparison.
Oh, good. Okay. So, but with this, I feel transition in your music, do you believe you're making a transition as well?
I mean, for me, How Many Times, it's always been within me, and I have written songs such as these, but they've never been so much in the forefront. I've always written songs that matter to me, like in ways outside of what stereotypical R&B singles are since I've come out. Like, so, because since I started releasing music in 2005, like it was a different kind of R&B than Marvin Gaye and Teddy Pendergrass and Sam Cooke and Nat King Cole and so many other people. They actually had to sing about the oppression that they were facing because it was deterring them from what it was that they wanted to do. They had to go in through back doors to sing. They had to stay in hotels that were across town from where they were performing. It was something that impacted them so directly. They laid the roots down for me to be able to do music freely without thinking about the oppression that we still face. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of artists have been able to live without that on their minds, especially when you accumulate wealth and you live in a different place than where you come up from. And a lot of, so like you heard OJ, I'm not Jay-Z, I'm not black, I'm OJ. Like that's he's not the only person that's had that mindset. And even if not to that extent, once you reach a certain level of wealth, you think you're not going to face the problems of an everyday black person. And the truth is you still may, or you may be even heavily more targeted for your success. So I think how many times when I saw just and the irony in the peaceful protest of Colin Kaepernick in a knee taking a knee, causing so much uproar in America, only for years later the symbolism of this man feeling as though he can knee on a black man's neck, kill him, and go unpunished. Like all of that was so much that like I couldn't ignore it. You know what I mean? The feelings overcame me, and I just feel like I needed to make that song. Like it wasn't even me making it. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it was channeling through you, and
Yeah.
it's very beautiful to listen to. We've been playing it for a couple weeks now, and so since COVID has shut down the office, we've been answering the hotline in the front desk, and the amount of grown men that I have calling crying after they hear this song playing on the station is just so powerful to me. So as an artist, to see your music affect people in that way, how does that make you feel?
The crazy thing about it is I hadn't shed a tear. Like I watched the whole video and I was just in shock. Like I watched many videos of unarmed black men and black women mistreated, murdered. Uh, and I don't very often cry, like even if I want to, because we as black men, it's something from that's embedded in you from the time you're young that you got to be strong, you got to be tough because the world gonna be hard on you. You know what I mean? And especially with in the black community, so many men not being in the homes. You see your mother and your grandmother, your aunt, or whoever taking care of you, going through so much already. You don't want to bring that to their doorstep, so you figure out a way to hold that down.
Right.
So even myself, when I started making this song, that's when the first tears fell for me.
Yeah.
Because like actually saying the words and confronting the emotion before you deal with anything, you got to confront it in truth.
Yeah.
And like walking into that truth and getting through those lines, like, you know, you upset because the city on fire, but you quiet when niggas die. Like that hurts to say. Like that's what you worried about. You know what I mean? Or you know, you a God now. You no longer have to worry. You know, that's easy to say, but that's not really what you ever want to say to somebody you lost. Like that's not that's comforting, but at the same time, you shouldn't even been taken. You know, so I'm happy that people can deal with their emotions and that it helps people express because, you know, when you can cry about something, it's a stage of, you know, getting through it and getting through to the other side. Because if you hold that in, there's no telling, you know.
Yeah. It builds up and you don't deal with it in the most healthy way. But like you said, in terms of self-care and mental health, your creativity has been a very beautiful and healthy outlet for you. And we're just so ecstatic that you chose, you know, to use your voice to speak on these issues, to bring light and in your way to this issue. But as a creative, why do you feel that it's important to speak on it? And do you feel other creatives have a responsibility to speak on it as well?
I feel like anybody who's benefited off Black culture, anybody who has made a way for their families to eat off the backs of Black culture, whether you be Black, whether you're not, I feel if this issue doesn't matter to you, then what really does? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if the lives of the people that support you and love you, the lives you've impacted, people that are inspired by you, and you can't really. And I also feel as though, and I've come to understand that some people are working through it themselves before they can get the right messaging or before they know what to say.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are being torn down for certain things they're saying. It's a hard place to be in. I do believe that, especially for some young people that you know are just now stepping into and understanding their fame. I've been doing this for 15 years. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm comfortable and confident in my own skin outside of anything that I got going on that's Trey Songz involved.
Right.
And I'm more concerned with the man I am than the entertainer I am or the artist that I am. So I know that if I can inspire people when I sing about love making or I sing about having fun, going to the club, drinking, or relationship turmoil, relationship joy, I can sing about what's really in near and dear to my heart and still touch and impact people. So I'm proud of a lot of artists out there that's stepping up. I'm proud of a lot of people on the other side that are unaffected by this, that are stepping up and really taking a stand. Taylor Swift, Billy, like just to name a few people on that really going outside of their way just to be like, listen, this is not right. Because and you'll see a lot of people that don't want that. But the truth is, we need that from people. We need that from people on the other side to speak. We need them to speak about us caring, about us mattering, rather, because like influence is everything.
Sure
If you can influence somebody to do one thing, you can influence them to do another. So why not use your voice for positivity?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And then you spoke about the protests as well. Why do you feel it's important for yourself to be a part of the protests?
I mean, I feel like if I'm gonna encourage people to go out and use their voice and do whatever they can with their time and their means and excuse me, I gotta be an example myself.
Yeah.
I can't expect things from people that I wouldn't do myself. So on top of that, I just wanted to get out and feel that energy. I wanted to know what it was like being on the ground. I wanted to know the tension when you saw a tear gas fly. I wanted because people out there risking their lives, like people out there really standing on the front lines and seeing the police brutality firsthand. It's not like they toned nothing down since, you know what I mean? Like they turned it up.
Yeah.
And a lot of people got to see that firsthand that wouldn't have seen that in any other instance. Like you got white folk that went out there and said Black Lives Matter that got tased or got, tear gassed, and, you know what I mean, in support of that. And I wanted to get down there and see what that anxiety was, to see what that unity was, that hope was. And I protested now like 4 or 5 days. And of course, I have a Black Lives Matter weekend in Virginia this weekend where
Oh, great.
we're celebrating 3 days long, starting on Juneteenth. June 19th, that Friday evening, we'll have a candlelight vigil at the Robert E. Lee statue that's being taken down
Good.
the week after. Uh, a lot of my friends went to Robert E. Lee Elementary School when I was young, like living in Virginia.
Right.
And as a young Black, you don't even know what that does to your mind. Till you older, you're like, oh damn, he was a slave owner.
Right.
Wow.
Fought for Confederacy.
To
Yeah.
that school, like
Yeah.
so that's big for us. What else are we doing? Saturday in my hometown, Petersburg, Virginia, we're doing a Feature City. Pusha T had a Feature City challenge in Norfolk, down there, Bad News, whole 757 area. So I accepted his challenge for the 804 area, and we're gonna feed as many families as we can. We'll get you groceries, get you food.
Yeah.
And on Sunday, we'll be celebrating Father's Day with a bike ride protest in Richmond. So I'm excited about that.
That's awesome. I did want to ask you one more question before you have to go. It's kind of like a layered question. But as we're looking to reform and to abolish all of these social norms within our society, in terms of the music industry, of things that have kind of been deemed as normal, what type of changes would you like to see within our industry?
More Black executives, more Black people in places of in high positions of power. I would love to see contracts that are equally represented. You know what I mean? You still got these slave contracts, as they've always called them, where you sign to a white person that's telling you what to do with your Black music, and they get paid more off of it than you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would love to see change. It just looking from a wide lens that would change a lot of things.
Yeah.
So
We actually have promotion. Because we're Black owned, we like to constantly keep our listeners informed of just about our history. And one of the promos we have going on is like the history of the music industry. And just looking specifically at your career, you've had 25 songs that have hit top 10 with on the R&B and hip hop charts, but only 2, that have hit on the Hot 100. So in terms of looking at the charts, do you think it's necessary to have more than one, or should there just be one? Specifically looking at the history of the charts, where, they went from the Harlem Hit Parade to the race records to rhythm and blues to now the hip hop and R&B charts. Do you feel it's necessary to have one, or do you not care about the charts at all?
The charts is something I kind of like forgot about early on in my career, because you know, if you really chase that statistic type success where you're looking for trophies and number ones to validate yourself,
Yeah.
you're gonna sometimes find yourself in a place of depression. You're gonna find yourself in a place of unhappiness versus just being happy with what you have.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't even know them stats until you told me that. Like, you know what I mean? Although I am very proud of my achievements, I also think that the skew of what popular music is has changed so vastly. Because you think back, I always reference this, back when Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, Luther Vandross, Boyz II Men, they were all number one art, like the number one song in the world. Like, ain't no hip hop, R&B, this is the number one song in the world. It's Mariah Carey. This is the number one song in the world. It's Mary J. Blige. You know what I mean? So I always reference that Waiting to Exhale soundtrack, which was like super, super huge, but it was black. You know what I mean? So, and I always reference Jay-Z, who was the biggest black artist there was before he ever transcended to who he became to be. You had DMX, who had went triple, stupid platinum. You had, and Jay-Z's the biggest rapper now, but if you think back to these times, you had Eminem, you had Nelly, you had DMX, you had Ja Rule, 50 Cent. You had so many artists that were considered bigger than he was based on popularity amongst white people. But if you continue to super serve your people and the people you love, that's the way you become a rock star. That's the way you become, because if you fold, you know what I mean, them people will leave you alone in a second.
Yeah. Yeah. That's listen to this man. He's speaking facts right now, y'all. So I don't want to keep too much of your time. We have had a couple questions from our listeners about when your album's coming out. Do you have a set date yet?
No. I'm gonna tell you the truth, man. This movement, this fire ignited under everybody, just came in and kind of changed the course of what was important for me. Because, like I said, we had a rollout plan. I had videos to be shot. I knew what single was coming next, everything, you know. And within this, I think it is important that people maintain some type of normalcy, because in order to give your energy to the movement, if that's what you're doing, you do need to retain your normalcy. You do need to be able to be happy, be able to celebrate moments, birthdays, things that would normally be celebrated. You can't let yourself just be sad and broken all the time, which is hard to do if you deeply indulge into what's really going on.
Yeah.
Because it's so heartbreaking.
It is. It is. So we'll make sure we keep that song going to keep people's spirits lifted here on WDKX. We want to thank you so much for joining us today. Happy Father's Day, happy Juneteenth, and talk to you soon.
You have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too.